So the other day I was watching some home videos that my father recently converted from camcorder tapes to CD, and they're from about, earliest ones were 2000. I was about 7 years old, and while I was watching them, the mind's always going in, extracting inspiration from wherever inspiration comes from, the ether, the divine intelligence, whatever. And it's amazing how that fragment of yourself, that iteration of the self, is frozen in that specific period, in this medium of recorded tape. It just fascinates me that that is captured on there, and I don't know necessarily how it works, the science behind it, but I guess photography and that sort of thing have always fascinated me. But projecting an image onto a screen that was once in this 3D realm that we can then harness and manipulate and project onto a certain apparatus and all of this sort of thing. That's not the point of the video, but anyway, so I was looking at my younger self and remembering certain places where my head was at the time, certain things that I was struggling to reconcile about growing up the way that we grew up. And then it hit me that it's amazing how when you take off the glasses of ignorant childhood, the undeveloped mind that lacks the experience that comes with existing through and walking up throughout life, and things that you were, conclusions that you arrived at during that time period, which for the time may have been viable, but really don't hold much water as you get older. And so the conclusions that you arrive at based upon the level of consciousness that you possess at the time, and that's the whole scope of your understanding. And as you grow older and you reflect back on these conclusions that you arrived at, and you think that they were so flawed and they were so juvenile and they were so, just, if you want to call them wrong, you can call them wrong. Who's to say what was wrong or right? But they were what they were for the time. And then as I'm watching it as a 28-year-old man, and the experience that I have gathered throughout life as I've lived, and it's amazing how different your reconciliations are with your state of consciousness that has advanced from the time you were a child. And so examples are things that have to do with my parents and decisions that they made and things that they put us through, and all of these sorts of things that you don't understand, or you understand in a very limited way as a kid, but now you can look back on it and see that what you thought was one thing was everything else but that thing, or everything else in addition to that thing. So as I watch the home videos, you get nostalgic and you get all of these feelings and things, and you long for those simpler, quote-unquote simpler times. But the main point of the video is that throughout our stages of life, we're at certain levels of consciousness, and so the way that we reconcile what we're confronted with is predicated upon our limited understanding and the level we're vibrating at. And this is always subject to change, and it should be subject to change, and we should strive to grow past it and to understand with more of a virtuous alignment of our consciousness, and more wisdom and more knowledge. And this sort of comes naturally for some, but for some it doesn't. Some people remain stagnate at that one level, and they never transcend that level. So just want to bring that up and cover it in this video, because as I'm watching the home videos, I get ideas. I always get ideas for things that have to do with this aspect of our existence, and that is my gift, so I want to make the most of it. But hopefully you guys find that interesting. I find it interesting, so I'll make the video. And just know that things that you experienced in your life, you are ultimately the beholder, you decide the meaning, you decide what you can extract from it, and try to approach things and revisit things and understand them from different angles and different perspectives so that you can unlock other aspects of yourself and manifest your ultimate self. So keep that in mind. Check out my other videos, like this video, share, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. Leave your comments, your suggestions, your feedback, anything you might want my perspective or advice on. I'd be happy to do that. Check out my other channel, Ray Rivera, where I do music and art, and stay tuned for more.